I'm here with the lads Frafi and Sean Daniel Young. They are the superstars of Lost Boys and Fairies. I mean, it must have been a very attractive script, wasn't it, Sean? I mean,
it is. All three episodes, they're absolute gems of scripts. And the first time I read them, the nice thing is that what I felt when I first read them seems to be what the audiences are getting from watching the episodes. So it's nice that that's translated to the audiences. But they're really special. And Dav James, the writer, is got a really unique voice. And I'm really glad that we found this platform on BBC One, that it's getting such a wide viewing, you know, because it's a big part of his life that he's put into this story, and to get to share it with people now is it's really special.
And it's loosely based, isn't it, on his story? It's not a
no.
This is his life story. Sort of thing.
No.
Yeah.
But Dav has adopted children, so he's gone through the process,
Yeah.
so he understands that in and out, and he wanted to give a real true representation of what that process was like for him. So yeah, it's certainly not a like for like, but it's inspired by
It's a great topic because I've interviewed many couples over the last 20 years who've gone through the process of trying to be parents when they can't do it let's call it the conventional way.
Sure.
And then you throw into the more recent, I'm glad to say, a more open discussion about parents, like same-sex parents trying to do this. I mean, it for a certain generation, it's come a long way, the conversation. But did you find when you were making this that there were still maybe questions being asked, that it was still problematic for people to discuss it, to watch it? I mean, is that still there? The bit of prejudice, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, one of the characters in the show is Gabriel, who Sean plays, his father, and he sort of is the sort of archetypal person who has come from a conservative background, religious background, and he's sort of coming to terms with how he feels about his gay son adopting with his partner.
Yes.
And because he says I feel as though a child needs a mother, and that's represented in the play, or in the show, sorry.
Yeah.
But actually, it's been such a wonderful celebratory response to this.
Yeah.
The messages that I've been receiving from heterosexual couples and homosexual couples that have gone through the adoption process and feel as though they've been really seen and heard with this show, because actually it's an amazingly positive thing. It's an amazing thing to do for a kid.
Of course. Being seen, isn't that what it is? I mean, that's what people want to, you see it, you can be it. That's what they say, and there's truth in it.
Totally. And I think that's why Dav wanted to put the story out there, because he feels like there's been a real absence of many of his life experiences on screen. So for us to get to fill that void slightly is really wonderful, actually. And like you said, for people to feel seen, like that's what it's all about.
Yeah, for sure. So, what part of Ireland are you from?
I'm from County Tyrone.
From County Tyrone.
Yeah.
And you said in an interview not so long ago that your parents were worried for you as a young gay man growing up, going, will he be okay?
Sure.
It's a slight generational thing. I mean, that must have been in your mind, even as you refer to the character, the dad, in this TV show. Tell me a little bit about that.
Absolutely. I mean, I came from a sort of background similar to Gabriel's in the story. A religious background, Catholic background, very, very rural.
Yeah.
So it's not as though you sort of had.
You're the only gay in the village, sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, it turns out that I'm definitely not.
Hang on a second. For about 800 years, there was never gay in the village.
Yeah. Once I came out, they came out in their droves.
Yeah. You were like, come out wherever you are.
Big time. But it's completely understandable though, because there's no like visibility. And even like when I was watching TV as a teenager, Graham Norton was such a hero because he was out and proud and a brilliant sort of media personality and actor, and Father Ted and everything.
Yeah,
but that was sort of it. And then any sort of gay story or queer story represented on soaps or anything was really harrowing. And, like if they were to kiss, like the whole nation seemed to go, like this is outrageous. It's the front page of every newspaper. And as a young gay teenager, you're going, what's this about?
Yeah,
Am I
yeah.
really that much of a freak?
And I think it was the only time we realised that priests watched television, because they'd be at the pulpit going, and I saw last night on Glen Row that this couple of men. And we won't even go there because we know what happened after that. Go on, you were saying.
Yeah, but so, 20 or so years later, to be doing this story that's just so unbelievably positive, and I think that's why I find it such a profoundly moving thing to do, because Gabriel and Andy are deeply, deeply in love with each other. Yeah. It's a beautiful relationship. It just so happens that they're two men.
It's funny as you're talking, because you're not gay, isn't that right? Is that right? And Daniel Bruhl, the actor, was sitting where you are on Friday, talking about playing Karl Lagerfeld, and he was saying that in that role he's in love with another man and he rang his wife. He said, "No, I actually think I'm in love with him," because it got on so well. So obviously
Sean fell madly in love.
I was going to say,
yeah.
Do you want to make any announcements today while we're here? It's like,
but genuinely though, the relationship that Farah and I have now and the one we established while we were filming, it felt like that, because we would laugh every single day, because there's some heavier stuff in the show as well.
Sure.
And if you're on quite a bleak set, it can be quite hard to sort of shift that mindset afterwards. But actually, when you're stepping off set and someone's going to, mock you for what you've just done and actually have a laugh with you, it's so much easier to then just crack on with your day.
Yeah.
So, it was really lovely that we kind of connected the way we did.
Yeah. I loved that when it came up in the conversation before, and Sean, I'm really talking to you about that, where somebody said, well, could a gay man not play a gay man? In the way that this has come up a lot about different people from different backgrounds playing different people from different backgrounds. Well, you said something along the lines of, well, it's the story. It's not about anything else. It's the tale that's being told rather than how or who. Is that right?
Totally.
Is that what you were saying? Am I right in interpreting you that way?
Yeah, I think I just remember thinking I never approached it going, right, this is a gay relationship, so I have to approach it very conscious of that. All I ever saw on the page was just this really intense, beautiful, deep love between these two people, and that's kind of all we focused on throughout. We were never having big conversations about the fact that they were gay, because it's
actually sort of
easy.
an extraordinarily ordinary relationship.
Yes.
They just live in Cardiff in this terraced house, and they just have their normal jobs and go through all of the normal stuff that every other couple does, and I think that's actually so exquisitely beautiful. That they just want to love each other and have a sort of normal life.
The marvelous mundane.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that in 5 years or less, the questions I'm asking today are relevant. I think they're still relevant, unfortunately. I think there's a lot of people who need to hear this, who need to be seen, to use your expression earlier on. But it wouldn't it be lovely that Gen Z or whoever's coming down the track go, why would you even ask that? It's kind
love
of
is love is love.
Love is love.
Yeah.
Love is love. We're going to move on a little bit, because, funny, we were talking about pubs. And I was saying that the pub I talk about too much. I don't even want to mention it again. But you were there last night singing a song, so great stuff.
Yeah, I was at the Devonshire last night.
I wasn't going to mention it.
Oh,
no, I'm joking. No,
I'm allowed to mention it.
You are allowed.
Yeah.
No, I was joking.
No, it was great.
What song did you sing?
I sang Carrick Fergus.
Oh, lovely.
Just try and stop me, Ryan, when I get into a pub and have a couple of pints of Guinness.
It's a beautiful song.
Oh, it's a great song. Give
us the opening chorus, your voice.
I wish I was in Carrick Fergus. There we go.
That's it?
You just said the first line.
Give me the second line.
Only for nights in Ballygrand.
Oh,
that's all right, isn't it? That's all right.
Bring on the pints. It's 5:30 somewhere.
Exactly.
And I was saying, it's funny. We were talking about this book that I was mentioning earlier on, Hellraisers by Robert Sellers, which we'll get on to Killian in a second. And you immediately saw it and said, there's Richard Burton. And they had all the fun, but...
Yeah, quite a few people
had
recommended it to me and were like, oh, the japes. And then actually when I read it, I was like, This is page after page of really problematic behaviour.
It doesn't age well.
No.
And the stories don't age
No.
well. But we were saying, myself and Fra were saying, it's great to have a slice of Ireland here as in terms of a bar, and they talk your language in the sense that it's Irish English, if you know what I mean. And equally, does Wales have the same?
So there's the London Welsh Club,
Okay.
and that's kind of the extent of it, I think, as far as my knowledge goes. And that's where you could go and you'd watch the Welsh rugby matches or the Welsh football matches, and you could engage with people in Welsh and stuff, which is lovely. But yeah, we're not spoilt for choice like you guys are.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. You are a proud Welshman. You're proud bilingual Welshman.
Yeah.
Was Welsh your first tongue, would you say, rather
Yeah.
than English? So it's proper, like
So
Gaeltacht,
all of my school education was through Welsh. And I speak Welsh at home, speak Welsh to my friends. So, yeah.
So if you could say Wales is my favourite country in the whole world and I'd rather be there than here in Welsh, I'd appreciate it.
Cymru yw'r gwlad gorau yn y byd, a bydde well fi fod fyna neu unrhyw le arall.
See you in Middle Earth. It sounds beautiful.
I think they did steal some Welsh stuff.
Do you?
Because there's definitely bits that I've watched of that stuff and gone, hang on.
Wait a second.
Wait a second.
Wait a second, Gollum.
Yeah.
Gollum. No, I know. So Middle Earth is it does have the little Welsh.
Yeah. I think they did use some Welsh words.
He was bound to, yeah.
Wasn't. Fra, Cillian Donnelly, our mutual friend.
Yes, one of my very best mates.
Is he really? We're
Yeah,
that
yeah,
close?
yeah.
Because he was saying that he was singing the praises to me over the weekend, saying that you're quite something, and you did the Les Mis experience.
something.
Yes. No, really, as a talent. Sorry, did that sound like something?
Oh, as a talent, okay.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, he is quite
He's
something.
quite something. Hang on, the 18th century is just called. They'd like their expression back.
Yeah.
But tell me about your Les Mis experience, because you played all the different characters in the movie. And
Yes, well, I was doing the stage show at the time of being cast in the movie. Cillian, I think, had just finished it the previous year. And so we met, doing the movie in 2012, which was just such a unbelievably surreal, brilliant experience. Neither of us had been on a film set before, and all of a sudden you're in this sort of huge, like, Hollywood-type set, like in Pinewood Studios, with Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe, and it was really odd, but like super fun.
I'm having a flashback. I played the part of Javert on Friday night after a few drinks.
Oh, did you?
But it was very late.
When I gave you Carrick Fergus, give us a bit of stars.
I wish I had the words. I don't. I had to take the phone. They knew the words backward.
Yeah.
But you were saying you're there with Russell and Hugh and all the heads.
Yeah, and Anne Hathaway, and it was an
Great
amazingly. I think it's fantastic.
So do
actually, I really think it's brilliant, and Les Mis has got such devoted fan base. So, and I think most people really loved it, but perhaps the more purist stage lovers didn't quite so much. But I thought it was so brilliantly, as authentic as a musical can be. With the live singing, and it felt very raw and visceral. And
I love that.
Filthy. It was great.
Yeah, no, love that. It's just I'm bouncing back to your bilingual thing, and in that when you have Welsh subtitles now, or at least English subtitles to Welsh, in previous shows you've done, and I just think that there's a better appetite among younger viewers now for subtitles in a way that wasn't there for years.
100%, and I think we're exposed to such a different variety of shows now from across the world, from Spanish shows to Korean shows to all sorts. So I think people they don't instantly go, oh no, subtitles, I don't want to read, and then turn it off, like people might have done maybe 10 years ago. So I think people are just a lot more open to it, which is great. And there's been a lot of sort of back-to-back shows where you shoot a Welsh version and an English version, but to have Lost Boys and Fairies be truly bilingual in the way that my life is and the way that Dav's life is, that feels really significant and a real moment for the Welsh language on a scale like this.
Bit of authenticity to it all, just the real deal. In terms of stage, the King Lear recently, I went to see.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I wasn't long here. I think it was probably January, February, and I was looking at the posters in the West End going, well, there's Kenneth Branagh, and God knows who else is.
Oh, that wasn't the one that I was in.
That was the one you were in.
Okay.
Oh, my God, I'm about to fall. I thought for a minute there.
No.
Which one were you in?
I did the production at the Almeida, which just followed the Branagh one, starring Danny Sapani as King Lear.
Okay, and how was it for you then?
Fantastic.
It was beautiful, yeah.
Oh, it's great. The version you saw was very digestible in that I believe it was about 90 minutes. Ours was 3. Yeah, the Kenneth Branagh one was 90 minutes.
Yours?
3.5 hours.
Well,
Strap in.
yeah. Strap it back to back with Long Day's Journey into the Night. Make a week of it. But also, I mean, you go from the stage, and then you've got the Marvel universe, and you've got so much in the pipeline. Same with you, Sean. I'm sure it's busy times for you.
Well, I think for our night, that really got in common is that we've had that really fortunate balance of getting to do a lot of stage stuff and West End stuff, and then some really wonderful screen stuff. And I think actually generally the cast of Lost Boys and Fairies, there's a lot of theatre experience in there, which I think is really telling.
Well, congratulations to you both. It's doing great guns. Lost Boys and Fairies on BBC One. Second episode airs tonight. Who won't want to watch it after listening to you fellas? Thanks for coming in to see us.
Thank you for having us.
Real pleasure to see you.
Cheers,
how do I
Ryan.
say thank you in Welsh properly?
Diolch.
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 Okay. Gurf míle mágad. Both of you.
Míle mágad.
Good job.